What would it feel like to finally achieve your weight loss goals? What would it feel like if your clothes fit better? You had more energy throughout the day. You could run around with your kids without getting winded. This is part 2 of the weight loss guide. Make some changes in your own life because you deserve it. You deserve to be healthy. You deserve to feel confident in your own body. So let's get into it. You can have that life. I didn't go on carnivore. Didn't do Atkins. Now I prefer to do strength training, but I also do cardio. When you don't get enough sleep, your body produces more of the hormone ghrelin, which makes you hungrier, and less of the hormone leptin, which tells you that you're full. And if you have hormonal imbalances, it can make it harder to lose weight. When your body burns calories to heat the water that you drink, this process is called thermogenesis. So make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day. Motivation is so important when it comes to losing weight. You need to be motivated to make changes to your diet and your lifestyle, and those changes need to be sustainable. So find what works for you. For me, I found that setting realistic goals and rewards helped me stay motivated. I set realistic goals that I knew I could achieve, and when I achieved those goals, I rewarded myself with things like new workout clothes or shoes. Whatever works for you, find what works for you and stick with it. Don't give up. Losing weight is a journey, not a destination, and it takes time. But if you stick with it and you don't give up, you will reach your goals. I try to drink at least 8 glasses of water a day. Sometimes I get more, sometimes I get less. But I try to average out to 8 glasses a day. So it's important to get your hormones checked if you're struggling to lose weight. For women, there are certain times of the month when it's harder to lose weight because of hormonal changes. So if you're a woman and you're struggling to lose weight, you might want to consider tracking your hormones to see if that's a factor. So make sure you're getting enough sleep. I try to get at least 8 hours of sleep every night. Sometimes I get more, sometimes I get less. But I try to average out to 8 hours per night. First and foremost, you need to avoid crash dieting. Crash dieting can be dangerous, and it doesn't work in the long term. In fact, most people who crash diet end up gaining back the weight that they lost plus some, so don't do that. Also, you need to avoid fad diets. Fad diets are very popular right now. They're all over social media. And even though they may work in the short term, they're not sustainable and they're not healthy. So avoid those as well. Then, you need to avoid drinking calories. Drinking calories is one of the easiest ways to gain weight. And I'm not talking about milkshakes or ice cream, although those are definitely high in calories. I'm talking about things like soda and juice. Soda and juice are loaded with sugar, and they're basically empty calories. And the same goes for alcohol. Alcohol is also loaded with calories, and it can make you gain weight. Finally, you need to avoid processed foods. Processed foods are high in calories, unhealthy fats, and added sugars, and they're one of the main causes of obesity in America, so make sure you're avoiding those as well. And I find that when I do that, I'm much more successful with my weight loss goals. When I first started working out, I could only walk on the treadmill for about 5 minutes without having to take a break. But I didn't let that stop me. I walked for 5 minutes, and then I sat down for a minute, and then I walked again. And I gradually increased the amount of time that I spent walking until I was able to walk for 30 minutes straight. If you're just starting out, don't feel like you have to do a lot. Just start with a little bit and then gradually increase the amount of time that you spend working out. Weightlifting was something that I kind of picked up right away. It wasn't too hard for me to get used to. I learned how to do it properly. I watched videos online. I talked to trainers. And I started out lifting very light weights and gradually increased the amount of weight that I was lifting. But I found that both cardio and weightlifting really helped me with my weight loss journey. I didn't do vegan. I didn't do vegetarian. I just simplified my diet. I went back to basics. I went back to eating whole single ingredient foods like chicken, beef, fish, fruit, and vegetables. And cortisol can make us gain weight, especially belly fat. So it's important to find ways to manage your stress. For me, I found that working out really helps me with stress. I also find that meditation and deep breathing exercises help me reduce my stress levels. And I also find that spending time with loved ones helps me relax and take my mind off of whatever is stressing me out. I cut out all of the processed junk food. I stopped drinking soda. I stopped drinking sweet tea. I cut way back on the sugar and the simple carbohydrates. I don't completely cut them out, but I cut them back. And I started eating 3 meals a day at regular times, even if I wasn't hungry. And I found that by doing this, my hunger went away. So instead of snacking all day long, which actually makes you hungrier and you end up eating more, I started eating 3 meals a day at regular times. And even if I wasn't hungry, my hunger eventually went away. Here's my story about how I lost over 130 pounds in 2022. In 2021, I was 272 pounds. I was miserable, was extremely unhealthy. I had high blood pressure. I had migraines almost every single day. My knees hurt. My back hurt. I couldn't walk very far without being in pain. I had sleep apnea. Couldn't breathe while I was sleeping, and I felt terrible about myself. But that all changed in 2022 when I lost over 130 pounds. And I want to share with you what I did to lose that weight, so that maybe you can apply some of these things to your own life and reach your goals. Because losing weight is not just about looking good. It's about feeling good. It's about having more energy throughout the day, being able to do more with your family, being able to play with your kids or grandkids, being able to travel and not worry about how you going to get up the stairs in an airport. It's about so many different things, right? It's about quality of life. So the first thing that I did when I decided to lose weight was I went to the doctor and I got checked out. I wanted to make sure that there were any underlying medical conditions that needed to be addressed before I started exercising. And luckily for me, everything was fine. The doctor said, "Hey, you're just overweight, but you're healthy." So I continued on, and I made an appointment with a nutritionist. I wanted to know exactly what I should be eating to lose weight and to become healthier overall. And she helped me come up with a meal plan that worked for me. Okay, so now let's talk about food. There's no special diet that I was on. I didn't go on keto. Now let's talk about exercise. I joined a gym, and I started going 5 days a week. I did a combination of cardio and weights. Let's talk about sleep. Sleep is so important when it comes to weight loss. Okay, let's talk about stress. We all get stressed out, and when we're stressed out, our bodies produce more of the hormone cortisol. Okay, let's talk about hormones. Hormones can definitely play a role in weight loss. All right, let's talk about water. Drinking water can help you feel full, and it can also help you burn calories. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the things that you should avoid if you're trying to lose weight. The last thing I want to talk about is motivation. Thank you for watching.